Hi guys, do you know what is dry ingredients and different types of it? It is something that is dry, no water and moisture in it. Ingredients should be measured in a flat cup measures. It should be like this. Imagine this is a spatula and this is a flat cup measure. What I mean is this is a spatula and this is a flat cup measure. We say dry ingredients, the first thing comes in our mind is, that's right, it is flour. But remember this, different types of flour is different in absorption of water and gluten content. We have different types of dry ingredients. We have flour, sugar. Remember this also, sugar is the most dominant effect in ingredients, and cocoa powder, spices, and etc. My groupmates will explain it to you furthermore so you can understand it.
Hello, good morning. Today we will talk about the different types of flour. Of course, we have whole wheat flour, bread flour, cake flour, and the all-purpose flour. So, what do we use these different types of flour, or what even makes them different? So first, let's talk about the whole wheat flour. This variety is made with all components of wheat kernel, making it rich in protein, fiber, B vitamins, and minerals. Goods made with this flour are usually denser and have fuller flavor, that's used for bread, cookies, and dense cakes. So next is yung bread flour naman. It's also known strong or hard flour. So hard flour is about 12 to 14% gluten content. So bread flour is a flour from which bread dough with a good quality of gluten can be made. So yung bread or hard flour ay para sa malalamot na tinapay. For example, yung ensaymada, pandikoko, and yung cinnamon. Diyan ginagamit ang bread flour. So, ang bread or hard flour hindi ideal sa paggamit ng mga cookies. Kaya pag for example, mag-bake tayo, huwag natin siyang gamitin kasi yung ideal na gusto natin gawin is magiging iba yung resulta. So, next is the cake flour naman. So, cake flour is a type of flour produced from the endosperm portion of the wheat kernel. It is high in starch and has low protein content, which means that it contains very little gluten, making it suitable for cake recipes. So, yung cake flour is important pagdating sa mga cake. So, cake flour is ginagamit siya sa mga sponge na cake like yung chiffon. Makikita niyo yung cake flour kasi malambot siya and maputi. Very soft. So lastly, let's talk about the most common flour, and that's all-purpose flour. So all-purpose flour, it makes decent cookies, cakes, and it's for everything. All-purpose flour composition-wise, it's made from the endosperm of wheat kernel, so that was really carbohydrate rich. And all-purpose flour is about 10 to 12% protein, and this protein in wheat is called gluten, which really affects the texture of what we're baking. So yung all-purpose flour ideal sa mga puto, pound cake, and pwede rin siyang gamitin as pastry, kaya siya tinawag na all-purpose. Pero although ideal na pag pastry yung gagawin nyo like cookies, then use pastry flour.
What is sugar? Sugar is sweet, crystallized and soluble compounds that gain from processing of sugar cane. The first and most obvious rule of sugar in baking is that it adds sweetness and flavor, while granulated sugar is a fairly neutral sweetness. Other varieties of sugar, such as brown sugar, add more depth of flavor in addition to the sweetness. Sugar acts as tenderizer during mixing. It absorbs water and slows the development of gluten strands that can make the dough or batter rigid and tough. Use sugar to prevent gluten development and give your breads a tender crumb texture and good volume.
Good day everyone, ako nga pala si Almir na i-explain ko sa inyo ano nga ba ang baking soda, ano yung mga uses nito, and ano yung mga baking product na pwedeng paggamitan ng baking soda. So alam naman natin na talakay or na topic na to ni Sir sa previous lesson niya, which is leavening agents. And alam naman natin na pwedeng tawagin ang baking soda bilang sodium bicarbonate. And alam naman natin na ang baking soda ay isa sa 3 chemical leavening agents. So, ang ano nga ba iyon? Ang mga isa na dito ang yeast, baking soda, and baking powder. So, ano yung use ng baking soda? So, it is used by making a bread good and lightly. So, ano nga ba yung mga baking products na ginagamitan ng or tinutulungan ng baking soda para mag-rise? Example na nito is yung donut, puto, and yung gilid ng pizza, pwede ninyo. So, yun, so, sa madaling salita, tinutulungan ng baking soda na mag-rise and mag-good yung quality ng baking product. Dagdag ko lang po, ganito po yung itsura ng baking soda.
Yeast is commonly used in baking breads and other bakery products, serving as a leavening agent which causes the bread to rise by converting the fermentable sugars present in the dough into carbon dioxide and ethanol. When combined with liquid and sugar, the yeast make dough rise. Ang yeast ay isang sangkap sa paggawa ng tinapay na kung saan nagpo-provide ito ng texture at aroma sa dough, while also providing flavor, creates carbon dioxide in the dough. Ang yeast ay may carbon dioxide na kung saan nag-create ito ng hangin sa buong dough. Kaya sa tuwing sineset aside natin ito ay lumalaki at nag-e-expand. Ang yeast ay nagpo-provide din ng lasa sa dough, ngunit ang amoy nito ay medyo may kaasiman pag ito ay nakahalo sa dough. Yeast thrives in warm temperature, which is why warm liquid is added to dough. Ang yeast ay ginagamitan ng mainit na tubig para ito ay mag-activate. Ito din ang dahilan kung ba't ito nag-expand. Dahil din sa yeast, ang dough ay nagkikreate ng space sa loob nito. Kaya ang yeast ay nakakabuo ng tilapay na malambot, malasa, at ang bigat nito ay mababa lamang kumpara sa mga ordinaryong tinapay. Ito ay kadalasang ginagamit sa mga sponge dough method.
Hello everyone! Before I start, I want to show the equipments for using powdered sugar. And this is the equipments. This is the powdered sugar. Powdered sugar, also called confectioner's sugar or icing sugar, is a finely ground sugar produced by milling granulated sugar into a powdered state. The brown sugar. Unlike traditional brown sugar, powdered brown sugar is easily measurable and pourable, and its uniform texture and small granules blend seamlessly into seasoning blends and rubs. Produced by blending refined white sugar with molasses, brown sugar has a deep caramel color and rich flavor. The contents of powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is made by grinding granulated sugar with cornstarch to the desired grain size. White in colored powdered sugar has a sucrose content of approximately 97% and a cornstarch content of approximately 3% to prevent caking and to increase shelf life. The ratio of powdered sugar. To make homemade powdered sugar, you'll need two ingredients: granulated sugar and cornstarch. The magic ratio is 1 cup granulated sugar to 1 tablespoon cornstarch. Healthy version of powdered sugar, stevia. If you're looking for a healthier option for powdered sugar, consider stevia. It's available in both liquid and powdered form and is commonly used to sweeten coffee, teas, and even desserts. However, as it's much sweeter than regular sugar, you'll require less in your recipes. Nutrition facts about powdered sugar. The amount per sugar is 100 grams, while the calories is 389.
salt, also known as a sodium chloride, a chemical compound belonging to the largest class of salts. Salt also forms of a natural crystalline mineral and is known as a rock salt or halite. This flavors food and for preserving food. This also used as a binder and stabilizer as bacteria can thrive in the presence of a high amount of salt.
Hello, I'm Wyatt Pialinya and I'm going to tackle about cocoa powder. So what is cocoa powder? Cocoa powder is used in a variety of baked goods such as cakes, cookies, croissants bread, and brownies. Cocoa powder is made when chocolate liquor is pressed to remove 3/4 of its cocoa butter. The remaining cocoa solids are processed to make fine unsweetened cocoa powder. There are two types of unsweetened cocoa powder. This is the natural and the Dutch process. Now, bago ko po explain ang dalawang iyan, ay may papakita po muna akong picture. Ayan. Itong nasa left side po, ito po yung the natural unsweetened cocoa powder. And itong nasa right side naman po, ito po yung the Dutch process unsweetened cocoa powder. Nakikita nyo naman po ang pagkakaiba. Itong sa natural, medyo light lang po siya. Hindi po siya dark. And itong nasa right side naman po, itong Dutch process, ay dark po siya. Now, i-explain ko na po ang pagkakaiba po nila. First, we have natural unsweetened cocoa powder. Taste is very bitter and gives a deep chocolate flavor to baked goods. Its intense flavor makes it well suited for use in brownies, cookies, and some chocolate cakes. When natural cocoa or an acid is used in recipes calling for baking soda or an alkali, it creates a leavening action that causes the butter to rise when placed in the oven. Now, i-explain ko po kung paano po isa-substitute ang natural cocoa powder. The substitution of natural cocoa powder is replace 3 tablespoons of Dutch processed cocoa powder with 1 ounce of unsweetened baking chocolate, plus 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda for every 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder called for. Next, I will explain the Dutch process or an alkalized unsweetened cocoa powder. Is treated with an alkali to neutralize its acids because it is neutral and does not react with baking soda. It must be used in recipes calling for baking powder unless there are other acidic ingredients in sufficient quantities used. It has a reddish brown color, mild flavor, and is easy to dissolve in liquids. The substitution of Dutch processed cocoa powder is replace the Dutch processed cocoa powder called for in your recipe with an equal amount of unsweetened cocoa powder. Then, knock back the acidity by adding 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda for every 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder used.
Baking powder increases the volume and lightens the textures of baked products. It's a dry leavening agent made from mixture of carbonate or bicarbonate, a weak acid, and a filler. When combined with liquid, the baking powder creates an acid-base reaction, which releases carbon dioxide gas into the batter or dough. This causes bubbles, making the wet mixture expand and rise. Baking powder uses. Baking powder is used as leavening agent in baked goods. It can also be used as a cleaning agent for household items. If it expires, it just means that leavening agent will not work as well, but you can still use it as you would baking soda.
Good day everyone. In this video, I will be explaining
the difference between spices and herbs and the three different groups of spices and herbs. So what are the difference between herbs and spice? A herb is a whole or part of plant that is used to flavor food. This is usually the softer stems or leaves of plants and can be whole, ground, fresh, or dried. While a spice is a substance that is used to flavor food that and is derived from a dried plant and usually a seed, bark, or root part and is normally ground and powdered, although in some cases they may be whole seeds. Actually, there are three different groups for your convenience. First is dried herbs and spices. Second is fresh herbs and spices. And lastly, spice blends, rubs, and mixes. So let's start with the dried herbs and spices. Dried herbs are best used in recipes where there is plenty of time for them to cook in, as they need enough time to soak up some of the water to rehydrate. They first need to regrain some of the water before releasing their essential oil and flavor compounds. Herbs such as oregano, thyme, parsley, rosemary, and sage should be towards the beginning of a cook so there is time to extract the oils which allow the flavors to fully develop. Overcooking all herbs and spices will lead to a loss of flavor and they should be added towards the end of slow cooking or long and slow braising. Examples of dried herbs and spices are, first on the list is celery seeds and celery salt. While a wild celery, it is a marshland plant with a global habitat that has been cultivated as a food for millennia. The small seeds are dried and have a strong, concentrated flavor of a celery, which is loamy and grassy with a slightly bitter afternote. The seed is used either whole or ground to add warm flavor to such as meatloaf, salad dressings, sausages, soups, sandwich spreads, steaming liquid for shellfish, stock, and vegetables. Celery salt is made by mixing salt with the ground seeds, leaves, and or roots and is used to season cocktails like Bloody Marys and Bloody Caesars and in seasoning blends like Old Bay. Second on the list is salt. Table salt is a naturally occurring mineral comprised mainly of sodium chloride and is obtained by mining, evaporation of seawater, or evaporation of shallow mineral-rich springs. One of the salt is one of the 5 basic human tastes. Salt is used to add flavor and enhance the taste of other foods. More on the list are chili flakes, chia seeds, cinnamon, garlic powder, ginger powder, and thyme. So, next up is the fresh herbs and spices. As you can observe on the title, fresh herbs and spices would be more on fresh spices. So the examples of fresh herbs and spices are, the first on the list is basil. Basil is the best used fresh for its tantalizing fragrance and bright spicy taste, which is a fresh green flavor of sweet anise and cinnamon with notes of cloves and Asian varieties. More on the list is chives, cilantro, curry leaves, and lemongrass. So let's proceed to the spice blends, rubs, and mixes. Herb and spice blends are the basis for many ethnic cuisines through the world. Adding these mixes to your cooking repertoire can add an authentic touch to your efforts and at international cooking and make your culinary creations turn into something special. Examples of the spice blends, rubs, and mixes are: first on the list is chili powder. Chili powder is a combination of the dried and ground fruits of a variety of chili peppers, usually cayenne, but might also include other chili peppers such as ancho, bell, chipotle, or jalapeno. The ground chilies are combined with cumin, garlic, oregano, paprika, and salt, and the intensity can vary depending on the types of big peppers used. But generally, flavors are hot and spicy with woodsy or smoky notes. Chili powder is used in several cuisines including Asian, Indian, Korean, Mexican, Portuguese, Tex-Mex, and Thai to season beans, chili con carne, grilled meats, soup, stews, tacos, and vegetables. So, more on the list is chili powder and curry powder. Now that you're familiar with the many flavored herbs and spices available, I will be ending this video now. Thank you for watching.